Hey you all, Farmer Jesse here. This feels kind of ridiculous, but it's part of I feel like my responsibility in no-till growers is to try some of these different ideas out. However, I will say spreading this much cardboard on this garden has not taken as long as you would think. So I'm not going to make a huge long video about this yet because I don't really know how it's going to go, but I wanted to kind of talk about it a little bit and just what I'm planning for this plot. So this is the Spark Garden. So let's do it. All right, so like I said, this is kind of something I want to try for no-till growers, is to do as many different no-till styles as I can, so I have some perspective on them. And one of them is cardboard, and it's we got a bunch of cardboard when we opened Spark. We had a bunch of extra cardboard from the chairs and all that stuff. So I've started spreading it here, and this probably only took me half an hour. What took a long time was getting all the tape off of it. So I can't use anything with colored ink, and I can't use anything with glossy ink, and I have to get all the tape off of it. But other than that, this took me I don't even know, in that clip, this maybe 20 minutes. So it doesn't take that long to spread it. So next thing, and you gotta do it on a non-windy morning. Otherwise you got to stand out here with a hose and rocks or something and weigh it down. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to finish off this little bit. I have to go get a little bit more cardboard to do it. I've got it, I just have to pull the tape off of it. So I'm going to put that down. I'm going to cover it with the tarp and let that break down. There's enough moisture in the soil, it should in theory break down this cardboard. Let that break down and then pull the tarp off and immediately plant it. I think I'm just going to grow some maybe some late summer sweet corn for Spark, and a couple other things just to kind of experiment and see how it goes. And it's kind of funny, it just looks ridiculous, but the other thing what I'd love to do if I had the time, is cover this with compost and then do like a lasagna garden right here. But honestly, one of the big things that I think is so funny about no-till growing is that you think of these things as ridiculous. This is a backyard garden style, right? But it really didn't take me that long. No longer than it would have taken me to, let's say this was just grass. I could have mowed it, theoretically, could have mowed it, put the cardboard down, covered it, maybe with some compost and maybe, whatever, if I wanted to do a cover crop or something. But anyway, I could have mowed it, put the cardboard down, and then covered it. And that would have been it. And then I could have waited a few months and planted into it in theory. So I don't know, there's potential there. There's always we kind of strive for a certain amount of efficiency, and we should in growing our food, but at the same time, some of these methods maybe should be revisited. So that's what I'm doing. And I will let you know if it was a totally ridiculous waste of my time, because it doesn't feel like a good time for me to be experimenting. But I had all this cardboard and I wanted to use it. It was, it's part of our mission at Spark. So is to waste absolutely as little as possible. So that's what I'm working on. I will definitely update you all on how that's going. If you want to support this kind of work, make sure to go over to the Patreon page and put in a donation. I've put up over there I always say that we need to get to $1,000 a month to afford a second season. That is a ridiculously high number, I realize. Here's how it works, essentially, is that I need to pay other people to help me with the podcast. I don't care about money. I've never cared about money. I think it's a really boring form of capital. I much prefer relationships, community, all the other forms. But you have to have money, right? You have to have money to run a podcast. So it pays for a sound engineer. I broke all this down kind of specifically, but it pays for a sound engineer. It helps me to pay Jackson to help me run the site, because without him, I couldn't do half the stuff that we do. And he needs to, and you need to be paid for your time. So, and that's me saying that, not him. And then the running costs right now are about $100. I imagine by next year they're going to go up to about $150 with taxes and all that stuff. Yeah, so that's kind of where all that money goes. And then, the promotional stuff has helped to buy some new microphone and actually just pay for all that stuff for the first season. So that's kind of how it breaks down. I don't want people to give me $1,000 a month to run a podcast. I'm not selfish. I'm trying to do this kind of stuff for you all to get some perspective on it And that's kind of the rest of that money. Any remainder goes towards that, goes towards paying me for my time to do this kind of stuff and then to do the podcast. And I think it's like a couple $100 a month, maybe. So it's like $1 an hour. But, you know, I'm passionate about it. I would take no money. I just want it to sustain itself. And another thing I want to say about that is that we're just trying to keep it trying to keep the site and these videos and all that stuff fairly objective. So having the majority of our support coming from patrons as opposed to the majority of it coming from advertisers and promoters, even though we love our advertisers, helps to keep us a little bit more objective and, you know, just for you all to trust that what we're talking about, we're honest about. Even though, you know, I don't think the people that promote with us want it any other way. They like our criticism, they enjoy our objectivity, but, you know, just for the sake of the site, we want to make sure that you all can trust us. So, you know, that's part of the reason that we always push the Patreon page more than, you know, we take on a bunch of advertisers. Oh, I put the tarp on. Bing, like movie magic. And it was kind of a pain, gonna be honest about it. It was, well, one, the tarp had been blown into a giant pile because we had crazy windstorms, but also just pulling it over top of the cardboard was kind of a pain, so I wish I'd just drug it out straight and then had maybe another person to help me. But, you know, kind of rolling solo on this project. I also put the minerals down underneath, or right on top of the cardboard, and then on the plot that I'm gonna, I think, maybe sow clover, or at least a cover crop. I don't know yet. Too many options. One of those two, either a cover crop, a summer cover crop, and then sow into that, or that's the second half. Down there, that spot, I'm not gonna recover with the tarp. I think I'm just gonna sow a cover crop of some sort. But I put the minerals down. I put our little, you know, going with our soil test, I put our minerals down and did that. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Like the video if you like the video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. All those good things. Thank you for watching. We'll see you later. Bye.